Okay, live stream is up. We're on the record. We have Ms. Santini for the state on the telephone. We've got several attorneys here in the courtroom. We'll take those pleas first. Mr. Verderamo. Good morning. Yes, sir. Okay. Ms. Santini, could you hear that?
No, sir.
Mr. Verderamo is intending to enter a plea in absentia. He's requesting more time to get the paperwork in. My inclination would be February the 8th at 10:30. That is a plea docket. Ms. Santini, any objection to that?
Your Honor, is this for Mr. Orozco?
Oh, sorry. Yeah, Juan Orozco, 20 mm 1124.
Your Honor, I believe the February 8th date has a lot of cases already set on it.
True, which is a problem if they come into the courtroom. This is a plea in absentia.
Correct.
I'm okay adding this to a plea in absentia docket. I know we'll have some folks in person, but we'll have a mix in person and pleas in absentia.
Okay, so no objection, Your Honor.
Okay, so ordered.
Thank you.
We'll see you then. And FYI, you don't have to appear either if you don't want to. I'm happy to call you and you can stipulate on the telephone.
Thank you.
All right, yes, sir. You as well. Okay, good morning. Who do you have? All right, Ms. Santini, this is Mr. Camadeko with Jacob Mack, 20 CT 1107. Mr. Mack, will you raise your right hand, face the clerk to be sworn?
Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Driver's license suspension of $500 fine for a cost of prosecution, impact panel, no possession of controlled substance, readings, and a 10-day appointment.
All right, so this is a first offense and it's 512 and 6 is what you said. Ms. Santini, you agree?
It was hard to hear, but it sounds like all the terms were there.
All right, I'll go over it again, and you tell me if you agree with the terms I articulate. And sir, what is your name? Mr. Mack, you just took an oath, right? All right, let's go over the offer again to make sure you understand it. I'll answer any questions you have about it. The offer is an adjudication of guilt, 12 months of probation with all of the following terms and conditions. You have to get them done no later than the first 11 months, although your attorney has negotiated the possibility of early termination at 6 months if you're done by then. So you have some incentive to work hard early. And those terms and conditions include DUI school, appropriate phase, substance abuse evaluation, follow recommendations, 1 victim impact panel, no possession or consumption of alcohol, no entering bars, taverns, saloons, pubs, or lounges, no alcohol in your residence, random testing at your expense, all costs, which include court costs and cost of prosecution, a 6-month driver's license revocation, $500 fine, 50 hours of community service, and a 10-day vehicle impoundment. Mr. Camadeko, are those the terms you just articulated?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, anything I missed?
That's my offer.
Ms. Santini, do you agree with that offer?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Mack, do you understand that offer? Do you have any questions about it? Do you want to accept it? Are you pleading guilty or no contest? Did you read and sign this plea form? Do you understand everything that's explained on the plea form? Do you understand that by entering your plea today, you are waiving all of those rights? Do you understand that your plea will be used against you in a deportation proceeding if you are not a United States citizen? Are you under the influence of drugs, alcohol, or medication? DUI is an enhanceable crime. If you commit this crime again, you may face higher fines, more jail time, and possibly a felony charge. Do you understand all that? Ms. Santini, anything further by way of plea colloquy?
No, Your Honor.
All right, Mr. Camadeko, will you stipulate to venue in the factual basis contained in the discovery material?
Yes, sir.
All right, sir, I'll accept your plea. Find it freely, voluntarily, knowingly entered upon a factual basis and in your best interest, adjudication, judgment, and sentence as I previously stated. And Madam Clerk, was there a civil infraction consolidated?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Camadeko,
Your Honor, I ask for a withhold.
So you're asking for a withhold on the civil citation or a merge and dismiss? Granted. Okay, thank you, Mr. Mack. Good luck to you, sir.
Your Honor, there's nothing further to be.
Yes, sir. Have a good day.
You as well.
Thanks. Accept. Okay, Mr. Brown, good morning.
Sir, how are you?
I am fine, thanks. And you?
I can't complain. It's Monday. I'm here.
All right. And we're glad to see you. Mr. Brown is here with Etheridge, 2 cases, 20 CT, 28, 20 MM, 1891.
Your Honor, I just came in court to leave form that is resident signed outside. And then he's, my understanding, the state's going to agree to go across that if the court accepts the agreement. The CT is on this resident representation. Not guilty to contest. DWSR, the state's offer subject to approval is an adjudication of guilt, 6 months of probation, special terms and conditions of court cause and cause of prosecution, as well as 50 community service hours. We agreed that there will be no buyout during that service hours. There will also be 5 days of weekend work, weekend lockdown, with credit for 2. Now, Judge, I know this will be okay with the court, but because of his job, we specifically agreed that he can turn himself in or got time probation in April to do weekend work and weekend lockdown. The reason for that is he's pretty much working 7 days a week, but it's a season.
Okay. Any other terms?
I believe that covers everything. Did I miss anything, Ms. Santini?
Ms. Santini, did you hear the terms?
I heard for the DWSR, but nothing after that.
Okay, well, let me go over it again and then I'll come back to you. Sir, will you raise your right hand and face the clerk to be sworn?
Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Okay, you can put your hand down. What is your name?
Justin Etheridge.
All right, Mr. Etheridge, you currently have 2 cases. One of them is a driving on a suspended license charge in 20 CT 2278. The offer in that case is an adjudication of guilt, court costs of prosecution, 6 months of probation, 50 hours of community service, which must be performed. You cannot buy them out, and 5 days in jail with credit for 2. And the balance you must serve on weekend work, or you may serve, I should say, weekend work or weekend lockdown. All terms and conditions to be completed in the first 5 months of your probationary period, which means I have no objection to reporting in April. Those are the terms articulated by your attorney. Mr. Brown, did I get that right?
You did, sir. Thank you.
All right, Ms. Santini, do you agree with that offer?
Yes, Your Honor.
And Ms. Santini, Mr. Brown also said it is his understanding that upon my acceptance of his client's plea to the DWLSR, you will null pros the other case for resisting without.
Yes, Your Honor, that's correct.
Okay, Mr. Etheridge, do you have any questions about the offer?
No, Your Honor.
Do you want to accept it?
Yes, sir.
Are you pleading guilty or no contest?
No comment.
Did you read and sign this plea form?
I did.
Do you understand everything that's explained on it?
Yes, Your Honor.
Do you understand that by entering your plea today, you are waiving all of those rights? Do you understand that your plea will be used against you in a deportation proceeding if you are not a United States citizen? Are you under the influence of drugs, alcohol, or medication? Driving on a suspended license is an enhanceable crime. If you commit that crime again, you may face higher fines, more jail time, and possibly a felony charge. Do you understand that? Ms. Santini, anything further by way of plea colloquy?
No, Your Honor.
Mr. Brown, will you stipulate to venue and the factual basis contained in the discovery material?
We do.
All right, sir, I will accept your plea to 20 CT 2278, driving on a suspended license. I find your plea freely, voluntarily, knowingly entered upon a factual basis and in your best interest, adjudication, judgment, and sentence, as I previously stated. Ms. Santini, announcement in 20 mm 1891.
Yes, in this case, 20 MM 1891, state announces a no cross.
All right, thank you. Mr. Brown, anything further? No, sir. All right, thank you both. Have a good day. Accept. All right, Mr. Pershore and Mr. Darrow. Good morning. You've got two. Any order?
Let's go ahead and do Mr. Bessie first.
All right, Jason Besselou, 19 mm 2353 with Mr. Darrow and Mr. Pershore.
I'm gonna ask you to put Mr. Bessie over to the February 8th docket. We'll put an investigation request to find him. I looked and I don't think he probably has actual notice for this date. I think it was going to be responsible. Stressful circumstances for him. So they offer on the case is essentially just a time served offer. So I can't see if you're bench would have been any. I think we got our investigator before him. I think we can get it.
Ms. Santini, did you hear that request?
Not really, Your Honor, I'm sorry.
Okay, the request is to continue this case to the 8th. Mr. Darrow has indicated that they've been unable to contact their client, but they do have an investigator trying to locate him. Mr. Darrow's position is that his client has not received actual notice. He believes it's a time-served offer, and he's hoping not to have a bench warrant issued based on those facts. Did I
Your Honor.
paraphrase that accurately?
Great job, Jeff.
Okay. Ms. Santini.
Yes, Your Honor. Back on January 14th, Ms. Hall said she hadn't had contact with the defendant in over a month when she was at the Florence Center for Baker Act. So the state is asking for a bench warrant.
Mr. Darrow, anything? Well, I think Ms. Hall's representation is consistent with Mr. Darrow's. They have readily conceded they haven't had contact. So the state is requesting a bench warrant. Mr. Darrow, anything else from you?
Just again, I don't think he's had actual notice for the bench on someone on a time served unless it was an ROR. He's never spent time in jail. There's no realization to run this. And I can represent the court that our investigator does a very good job of tracking. The 8 pounds, I don't see anybody's harm or the state's prejudice. At that point, obviously, the sergeant would have a lot less volume.
All right, Madam Clerk, we'll continue this case to February the 8th at 10:30. And his appearance is required. Okay, and Mr. Darrow has one other case, I believe, and that's Carl Swisher, 20 CT 2069.
Yes, Your Honor, and we have a negotiated plea on that case.
All right, he's coming up. Let me. Good morning, Mr. Swisher. Will you please raise your right hand, face the clerk to be sworn?
Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Mr. Darrow.
Yes, Your Honor, Mr. Swisher is going to be enter a plea to one count of DUI first. The terms of the plea, and since I'm not sure which state attorney we have on the phone, I had changed one term with Ms. Creamy this morning. The terms of the plea are that you'll be adjudicated guilty, $500 fine, 12 months probation with no early termination for the first 9 months. The term we changed that Ms. Creamy agreed to 6 months of driver's license suspension, DUI school, victim impact panel, substance abuse evaluation, follow recommendations, random treatment at least twice a month, 50-hour community service without a buyout, 10-day vehicle impound, all the normal no alcohol clauses, bar tavern, saloon, no possession, no consumption, court costs, and cost of prosecution.
All right, Ms. Santini, do you agree with that?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, you've been sworn in, right? Did you raise your right hand, take an oath? Okay, tell me your name.
Carl Swisher.
All right, let's go over all of that again. It's an adjudication of guilt, 12 months of probation, with all of the following terms and conditions, which you must complete in the first 11 months at the latest, although you have the possibility of early term after 9 if you're done by then. And those conditions include DUI school appropriate phase, substance abuse evaluation, follow recommendations, 1 victim impact panel, no possession or consumption of alcohol, no entering bars, taverns, saloons, pubs, or lounges, no alcohol in your residence, random testing at your expense, all costs, which include court costs, cost prosecution, public defender costs. There's a $500 fine, a 6-month driver's license revocation, 50 hours of community service, which must be performed, cannot be bought out, and a 10-day vehicle impoundment. Mr. Darrow, is that accurate?
Yes, and just for the record, we're just seeking the public defender.
Okay, and Ms. Santini, do you agree with those terms?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Swisher, do you understand that offer?
Yes, Your Honor.
Any questions? Do you want to accept the offer?
Yes, Your Honor.
Are you pleading guilty or no contest?
No comment.
Did you read and sign this plea form?
Yes, Your Honor.
Do you understand everything that's explained on it?
Yes, Your Honor.
Do you understand that by entering your plea today, you are waiving those rights?
Yes, Your Honor.
Do you understand that your plea will be used against you in a deportation proceeding if you are not a United States citizen?
Yes, Your Honor.
Are you under the influence of drugs, alcohol, or medication?
No, Your Honor.
DUI is an enhanceable crime. If you commit this crime again, then you may face higher fines, more jail time, and possibly a felony charge. Do you understand that?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, Ms. Santini, anything further by way of plea colloquy?
No, Your Honor.
Mr. Darrow, will you stipulate to venue in the factual basis contained in the discovery material?
Yes, sir.
All right, sir, I'll accept your plea. Find it freely, voluntarily, knowingly entered upon a factual basis and in your best interest, adjudication, judgment, and sentence as I previously stated. Thank you, Mr. Swisher. Good luck to you, and thank you, Mr. Darrow.
Your Honor, this is Ms. Brady. We had that Zoom plea that I think
At 10:30?
terminated. Yes. And I think that was with the public defender's office.
That's me, Judge.
Yeah, Mr. Darrow is going to stay for that,
Yes.
right? Okay. All right, thank you. Mrs. Orange. Oh, sorry, Miss Orange, hold on, give me 1 minute here. Accept. Okay, Mrs. Orange. Destiny Flowers, 20 mm 1554. Good morning.
Good morning, Your Honor. I have 2 cases on the docket. Do you want to address the other one? Because Ms. Caribbean said she is having discussions with Ms. Flowers appearing by phone. Do you want to?
Well, okay, to do what? Why? What's the purpose of Ms. Flowers appearing on the telephone?
Well, Your Honor, I entered a notice of limited appearance just for the purpose of getting this bench warrant set aside.
Or is she here on a motion, not a plea?
Correct.
I see, okay.
If you want, we can address the other case first and then.
But what's the point of having your client appear on the telephone? I mean, what do you hope to accomplish with her on the phone?
Well, Ms. Caribbean said that because my notice of appearance was limited just for this purpose, she wanted my client to appear. I asked her if she had any objections to my phone since she was out of state, and she said she didn't have any objections. She also stated that if I was representing her through the end of this case, she would have stipulated to the motion to set aside the bench warrant. But because my notice of appearance is limited for this purpose, she would like for Ms. Flowers to appear.
To do what, Ms. Creamy? What do you, because I'm just curious, I can't swear her in on the telephone.
Well, the purpose is because the whole point of setting aside a bench warrant is so that when there is an attorney fully on the scene, is because we all know as parties of this case that the defendant is aware of the court date. But as far as only having this limited appearance for just this purpose, there is no communication with the defendant of what her next court date is going to be. So that was the state's concern. Solely for the purpose of just having the court advise the defendant specifically what her next court date will be.
Okay, how's she gonna get on the phone? Are you gonna call her?
She's not going to be represented. Oh, I'm sorry, Judge.
We can call her, Your Honor, and I also have a signed stipulation for the consent of withdrawal and a proposed order to withdraw that contains Ms. Flowers' address. Now, I understand within the court file, her notice
Okay, so withdrawal, what is that order for you to withdraw?
Yeah, this after the hearing.
After
yeah.
this?
Yes.
Okay.
But I just wanted to clarify for Ms. Carreni that the address that's in the court file is correct. The exception of her apartment number is not.
Which is on that consent
Which is
form.
on the consent form.
Okay, can you bring that up and then call your client and we'll get her on the speaker? And what would we be doing here, setting this for a PD pro se pretrial? Is that the request?
Yes.
Okay.
She's never been a read, but we'll actually have to be a read.
That's my phone.
So
You
you
can,
just call mine? She's
Sure.
calling right now.
yeah, just answer and put her on speaker.
Hi, Destiny. Okay, you are on speakerphone and open court.
Okay, Ms. Flowers, this is Judge Crown. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
This is 20 MM 1554. That's your case number, and you have a bench warrant for your arrest based on your failure to appear in court. Are you asking me to set that aside?
I'm sorry. I did not fix my phone. Can you just repeat?
You have a bench warrant for your arrest based on your failure to show up in court. Are you asking me to set aside that bench warrant?
Yes.
Why would I do that?
Honestly, I was going through a lot at the time without having no ID, and it was a county that was very, very far from me. Like I'd never been to my whole life. I was with a friend, and then I got into something with that friend that I didn't even know I can even be put in that situation at the time. So it was just a big confusion, and then I was just like, okay, I don't have my ID. I can't come back in, but I didn't have a phone at the time, so I couldn't even call like my bond lady, all of that. I didn't even know her number or knew who my bond lady was. And then I wasn't receiving no mail until it was on in court that I was supposed to go through. And then I did receive one, but it was too late for everything.
Okay, Ms. Karimi, any objection to the request?
No, Your Honor.
All right, the bench warrant is set aside. Mrs. Orange is handing me an order to that effect, setting aside the bench warrant that was issued December the 10th, 2020. All right, so Ms. Karimi, she'll be pro se in just a minute. Mrs. Orange is withdrawing from the case, so we've got pro se pretrial conference February 18th. Is that the request?
February 18th is, I'm sorry, am I supposed to talk?
No, I'm asking the prosecutor. Ms. Karimi, what's your request?
February 18th for pre-trial conference.
Sorry, was that a question or a statement? That's your request?
Yes, Your Honor, that's my request.
Okay, Ms. Flowers, your next court date is February 18th at 9 o'clock for a pretrial conference.
Okay, February 18th at what time?
9 o'clock.
All right, thank you so much.
Do you plan to, hold on, I'll tell you. Just wait a second now. You know that Mrs. Orange is about to withdraw from your case, right?
Yes, I understand that. Hopefully I can give her hopefully we can work out something else that she can get back on my case for me.
All right, so in the meantime, what will happen is you'll get a notice for this pretrial conference, and it will be on the telephone. So you do not come to court, but you have to be available on the telephone, or I'll issue another bench warrant.
All right, that sounds perfect. I'll make sure.
Okay, and you signed this consent form for Mrs. Orange to withdraw, right?
Yes, I did.
And on the bottom of that form has an address for you with apartment 3F. I'm not going to state the entire address because we're on the record, but you agree that's your correct mailing address.
That is correct.
So any notice that goes to that address is sufficient, right?
Yes, that is all right. That is correct.
Okay, Ms. Flowers, do you have any questions for me?
No, I don't.
Ms. Karimi, how about you?
She's never been at an arraignment, so she needs to be arraigned on her charges.
It's a possession of marijuana, right?
And paraphernalia.
Ma'am, you're charged with 2 counts. One is possession of marijuana, one is possession of paraphernalia. And Mrs. Orange, before I sign this order, are you entering a plea of not guilty for your client?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, she's been arraigned, and your next court date is 2/18. We'll talk to you then, okay?
Thank you. See you
All right, thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
All right. And Mrs. Orange also has Jose Ordonez Ambrosio, 20 CT 583.
Yes, on page 5, Your Honor, I have the actual being essential with the defendant's reference.
Okay.
I sent it to Mr. Ray. I'm not sure if I sent it to Mr. Rapp previously, but I sent it to Mr. Ray. Before, as far as the docket, I don't know if you had an opportunity to review it.
Ms. Cramey, have you reviewed the plea and absentia paperwork?
You did, Your Honor, and it is accurate.
All right. Mrs. Orange, will you stipulate to venue and the factual basis contained in the discovery material?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. This is a no valid driver's license. I've reviewed the file as well as the plea and absentia paperwork. I will accept his plea, find it freely, voluntarily, knowingly entered upon a factual basis and in his best interest, withhold $100 fine, court cost prosecution, Madam Clerk, 90 days to pay on all cases without probation. Okay, Mrs. Orange, anything else? All right, you as well. Thank you. Yeah. All right, have a good day. Thank you. Mr. Gorman. Good morning. Accept. Yes, sir.
Worked out resolution with the state that calls for withhold costs, assuming he completes his counseling. When we set for plea, he was about to start his counseling. They've given him a lot more counseling than we're typically used to. Judge, like 10 sessions from him, so he's in the process of doing that, but it's going to take about 2 months for him to complete those 10 sessions. So he can have either a pretrial or another date 2 months out, plea at that time. So we'll be able to show the state his completion of his counseling and then do later.
With a waiver?
The waiver.
Any objection to a continuance? We'll continue this to private counsel pretrial February 17th at 9 o'clock.
Okay. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Mr. Gorman. So it is 10:31. I know that Mr. Darrow has a plea at 10:30 via Zoom. I'm not ready to start that yet because. Okay. All right, very good. So eventually what I'll have to do is I'll have to leave the meeting I'm in now and start the meeting for your plea. But I've got a few private counsel I need to call first on this docket. Okay, starting with Mr. Kavanaugh. And this is on Nathan Itzapoglaj. And Mr. Schneider will be next.
This is Lorena. How may I help you?
Good morning. Is Mr. Kavanaugh there, please?
May I ask who's calling?
Yes, Rob Crown.
Yes, give me 1 second.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Morning, Mr. Kavanaugh. This is Rob Crown. How are you?
Good, Your Honor. How are you?
I am fine, thank you. We also have Miss Santini and Miss Karimi on the telephone for the state. In your case, Nathan, 20 CT 2043.
Yes. So we had met with Mr. Paxilage. He has read and signed the plea forms, including the plea in absentia, aware of all his rights. The terms of the plea, if acceptable to Your Honor, is outlined in paragraph 11, essentially adjudication, court cost of prosecution. All of his prints and everything should have been filed as well.
I do see that in the file. Miss Santini, do you agree with the terms?
Yes, Your Honor, and the state has checked the plea in absentia, and it is complete.
All right, Mr. Kavanaugh, will you stipulate to venue in the factual basis contained in the discovery material?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, I will accept his plea, find it freely, voluntarily, knowingly entered, upon a factual basis and in his best interest, adjudication, court costs in the amount of $220, cost of prosecution in the amount of $50 with 90 days to pay. And I believe that's it. Mr. Kavanaugh, anything else?
No, that's all I have. Thank you, and have a good day.
All right, you too. Thank you, sir. Bye-bye. Accept. All right, Mr. Schneider is next on Kurtur Leotis, 20 CT 1655.
Office.
Mr. Schneider, this is Rob Crown. How are you today?
I'm good. How are you?
I am fine, thank you. We have our prosecutors on the telephone, Miss Santini, Miss Karimi, for your case, Christoph Karturliadis, 20 CT 1655.
Correct, Judge. And we filed a plea in absentia about 10 days ago. It should be in the court file.
I did see that. Miss Santini, have you reviewed the plea in absentia paperwork?
Yes, Your Honor, Ms. Creamy has signed it, and it's complete.
All right. Give me 1 minute to, I'm reading the booking sheet. Give me just a minute to finish that.
Sure.
While I'm doing that, Mr. Schneider, will you stipulate to venue in the factual basis contained in the discovery material?
Yes.
And it looks like there might have been a crash here with a truck in the dock. Is there restitution addressed in the plea in absentia paperwork?
Hang on, let me open it. I don't think there was any damage, Judge. I think he was pulling a boat out of the water and hit the side of the dock.
Ms. Santini, what's the state's position on that?
We don't have it listed as part of the plea offer. I can double check.
Was that intentional?
Can I just have a moment just to double check, Your Honor?
Sure.
Judge, this is Ms. Creamy. That's my fault. That was an oversight. It looks like the crash report lists Collier County as the county itself is possibly having damage. I have a contact person over there. I'll reach out and find out if they're seeking restitution. I apologize, Mr. Schneider, if we can reset this.
That's fine.
February 8th, and I will look into it.
All right, another issue that we'll need to clarify at that time is the information has 3 counts, the plea in absentia 2.
Yes, Your Honor. Upon completion of the plea in absentia, the state is will no cross count 3.
All right, so the next plea in absentia docket, Mr. Schneider, would be February the 8th at 10 o'clock. Does that work for you?
That is fine, Judge.
Now that's going to be a pretty heavy docket, Mr. Schneider, just as a heads up. I'll take all of the people who are physically present in the courtroom first, just to try to clear them out as quickly as possible. So just please be patient with me. It might be a while before I'm able to call you, okay?
Okay.
All right, we'll talk then. Thank you, sir.
Have a good day.
You too. Bye-bye. 2-8 at 10:30 for a plea in absentia. All right. And next is Miss DeCaro on Muka, 20 CT 987.
You've reached attorney Christina DeCaro with Musco Law. Please
Oh, Judge, I'm sorry. Judge, I apologize. I didn't hear that you were calling Miss DeCaro. I actually just got an email from Miss Fish. I believe she's covering. Were you calling on Muka?
Yes?
Okay. Yeah, it looks like it's going to be her.
What is her phone number, please? Or do you have it?
Her email says 307-96.
307.
9695.
Thank you.
This is Monica speaking.
Good morning, Miss Fish. This is Rob Crown. How are you today?
Good morning. Thank you. Fine.
I understand you're covering for Ilber Muka.
Yes.
And this is a plea in absentia. Miss Santini, have you reviewed the paperwork?
Yes, Your Honor, the plea in absentia is complete.
Miss Fish, will you stipulate to venue and the factual basis contained in the discovery material?
Yes, Your Honor.
I will accept his plea, find it freely, voluntarily, knowingly entered upon a factual basis and in his best interest. A withhold of adjudication, $150 fine, $50 cost prosecution, court costs in the amount of $220 with 90 days to pay. Miss Fish, anything else?
No, Your Honor. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Have a good day.
All right, you too.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Accept. Okay, next is Mr. Iamuno on Zapata.
Hello?
Hello, is Mr. Iamuno there, please?
Yes, good morning, Judge Crown. How are you?
I am fine. How are you today?
Good.
We've got two prosecutors on the telephone, Miss Santini, Miss Karimi. Your client is Lucas Zapata, 19 CT 1521.
Okay, Judge, Mr. Zapata, I spoke with him and we would like to accept the state's offer that was outlined to us last time.
Okay, do you want to do that in person or by way of plea in absentia?
Plea in absentia, and I told him that he would have to get to the probation office. He told me he would, if we take the plea today, he would try to get there today. He needs a ride, but he could definitely get a ride by tomorrow if that would be acceptable.
Well, is the plea in absentia paperwork in the court file?
It should be. I was under the impression it was, but I haven't checked since we spoke. I apologize.
Well, that's all right. I just didn't see it at first glance.
Oh, okay.
I checked this
I'm
morning
sorry,
and
I
I
was
didn't.
under the impression it was there.
Let me ask.
If it's
Well, let's ask.
not there, I can get it in within a couple, like 2 days or so.
Well, let's
3
ask.
days.
Let me ask the prosecutor if she sees it. Miss Santini,
Your Honor, I checked this morning and right now it's not there.
Madam Clerk, how about you? No. So none of us are seeing it. So the request is for a different plea in absentia date. Is that right?
Correct, Your Honor.
All right, so we're going to set this for a plea in absentia on February the 8th at 10:30. Just as an FYI, heads up, that's a pretty busy plea docket. I'll take all of the people in person first before I'm able to make phone calls, so just please be patient with me on the 8th, okay? I will get to you sooner or later. All right, so we'll talk then. Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you, Judge.
Okay, bye-bye.
Take care.
Okay, and the last case on our docket is Markinson Telesnord, 20MM 2071. State's motion to revoke bond, and it looks like he's pro se. Ms. Santini, you ready to proceed?
Yes, Your Honor.
I can tell you that there are no defendants here in the courtroom.
That was gonna be my question. For the record, the state has sent notice to Lee County Jail because that's where Mr. Telesnord was at the time when we filed the motion and did notice of hearing. And on January 20th, the defendant was released from Lee County Jail. And that's as far as we know today.
Okay, so do you have an address for him out of custody?
Yes, Your Honor, we have a Lehigh Acres address.
All right, so what's your request today?
Well, the defendant has had notice, so we would like to proceed with the motion to revoke bond.
He had notice to a temporary address, right? Specifically
Yes, Your
the
Honor.
Lee County Jail. And when did you find out that he bonded out or that he was released?
We saw that he was released January 20th.
Did you attempt to send a new notice to that Lehigh Acres address?
No, Your Honor, we did not.
I'm not comfortable proceeding in his absence. I'm not sure how long it takes to process mail once it gets to the jail. Your certificate of service, I believe I've closed it out of the notice, but I believe it says the 14th, 6 days before he was released from custody. And my assumption is that's probably enough time to get him mail, but I'm not comfortable enough proceeding on that assumption. So we're going to cancel the hearing today. I'll ask you, Ms. Santini, to contact my office to reschedule if you feel it's appropriate. And in the meantime, Madam Clerk, do we need another court date? Are we set for anything?
Judge, I think it's set for arraignment February 11th.
I do see that notice, so we'll leave this as previously set on the 11th, and it'll be up to the state to renotice or reschedule your motion if appropriate.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, so that completes our 10 o'clock docket. We do have one case on the 10:30 docket. So I'm going to end this current Zoom meeting and log back.